Hey everyone, I just want to say thank you for listening to or viewing the Jameela Adams Experience. As you know, this year's theme was Finding Your Voice. So going into 2026, we're going to be more intentional. So let's just say that's the flavor of the year, being more intentional. So with that being said, I have my besties here.
I'm Tanya.
Hi, I'm Jeanette.
I am Alicia, also in the design room.
And I am a Makeda Kumasi.
So these are these lovely ladies that I have been blessed and fortunate to have in my life. And so with that being said, we're going to keep it long but short at the same time. You know how goofy I get. So as we start out with these questions, you know what? Here's the thing. Everybody's going through life right now. And I want you to know that you are somebody that someone looks up to. You know, every time I end a show, I always say, be inspired, because I really want you to be inspired. And I also want you to be inspiring because people are watching you, just like I was explaining to them. You know, people watch what you do. And the other thing you have to do is be encouraged, because sometimes life sucks and we go through a lot of shit and it's just the way it is. But be encouraging to others and to yourself, because like I said, there are people watching you. So as we get started, I want you to think of these questions, not only as we're talking about it, because we've lived life, you know, like you, we've experienced things. Women over 40, hell, over 50. Imagine that. Um, we're just going through it, but at the same time, we're going through it together. So let's begin with the question so that way you know what we're dealing with, and maybe we can uplift you and do the same thing. So as we started off, as we were talking earlier, we were talking about if you were to sit across from your younger self, what would you say to yourself? What word of wisdom would you give her? Because trust me, there's a lot of things I would tell my younger self, and if mainly don't talk to him, leave him alone. That would be one of those. But for you ladies, what would be something that you would say to your younger self?
I'll start off with this question. Growing up, was super, super, super shy. Super, super shy. That's why she's my big little sister, because she had a big voice. I was always the supportive. But I would tell my younger self, there's nothing to be afraid of. Do you, be you 100% and let your glory shine.
Mhm.
Because I think in the who I am as a Scorpio and as the supportive role, I always kind of faded in the background,
Mhm.
even though I didn't need to.
Mhm.
And I work every day, even now, I work on not dimming my light, really speaking out, because I have children now, and I don't want them to dim their light. I want them to speak out and be who they are in 100%.
How about you, Tanya?
That you don't have to do things to seek others' approval,
Mhm.
whether it's your parents, family, siblings, or just people in general. That it's okay to do things for you
Yeah.
and
I-
do what makes you happy.
Yeah. I think that's one of the things where we all experience looking at things
Lack thereof.
and the lack
Right.
thereof, because
Right.
you know, you and I have known each other for like forever. And I think if I were to go back to myself, especially in high school, I would just say, hey, you know what? Be you. You're going to be funny looking to somebody. You're going to be tall and you can't help it, because that was one of the biggest things I had
Same
issues.
here.
Yeah. You know, always being picked on for being the tallest girl in the class or just awkward looking. And I always, you know, tried to get past that by looking older. Once I learned how to put makeup on, it was a wrap. But the real reason why I did that is because I thought I needed to look presentable or be pretty and always on. So that's why I always wore makeup, especially in high. Shoot, actually, I started wearing makeup in 8th grade, but I always figured it's because I didn't look pretty. I didn't feel pretty, and I needed to put on a mask in order to get the attention I didn't really need. But you know, it's one of the things I had to learn. I had to learn.
I would tell my younger self to don't worry about if things don't go to how you plan them. Like,
Right.
don't be afraid to go down the, path less traveled. Step out on faith is a word that my aunt would always say, because when we're young, we kind of have like these things established for ourselves that we want to have done by a certain age, or it's okay if those plans don't pan out, or and be open to other opportunities.
That's a big one.
Right.
Right.
That's
You know,
that
that
is
is-
a big one.
Might be outside the box of your plans, you know,
Right.
because other things can, I mean, can happen, and dreams, you know, can still be accomplished outside of A, B, and C order that you have set for your life. I mean, I remember, you know, we're always, I think when we're young, we're thinking about how our parents have ordered their lives.
Mhm.
And I remember just thinking, I can't even say how old I was, but I'm sure we was living in LA. So it was at 7, you know, about 7, thinking, okay, I gotta be married by 21 and I'm gonna have my first child by 20. Like
Mhm.
these are like 7-year-old
Goals, right?
visions for our, so you know, what fortune cookie thing that, you know, fortune pan maker.
Oh,
did I
yeah,
see?
that.
You know, what number did I choose that said I was gonna be married by 22? And you
Right.
know, what standards, looking at the age of my parents when they started having children, do I set for myself to start having children? Like all of that stuff, you know, the plans that you set, even when you're 20. You know, if you get to 30 and you haven't become a millionaire yet, you know, it's like, doesn't mean you're a failure. It
Right.
just means that, you know, that money hasn't come your way yet, and maybe you need to, you know, diversify your business plans, you know.
When I got married, when I first got married, like the first, I would say maybe 5 years, when we were just really learning how to live together
Mhm.
as a couple, and then we had to learn each other's patterns.
Boy.
And
Yeah.
asked for a lot of guidance.
I think
A
marriage,
lot of guidance.
yeah, does stretch you. And
Yes.
I mean, to answer the question the way you posed it the first time, I would say the things that were stretching the season that was very challenging to me was about 5 years ago, and it really was related around my relationship with my husband, and where like I was at a point, it's like, look, if I don't leave this motherfucker now, I'm not gonna be leaving him, and I'm still with him, so I obviously didn't leave him. But yeah, that roller coaster and that work sometimes, you know, people talk about 50-50. I don't know if it's 50-50.
It's
I
not.
think
Never.
It's
it's
not.
just recognizing, you know,
Feeling
the
it in
portion, you know, that you're willing to put in.
Mhm.
And I think, you know, beyond, because I was like Tina Turner and like, what's love got to do? Got secondhand emotion. You know, I was really like, what is that? Even though, you know, that sentiment of love and care is needed, I was in the space of I need respect right
Right.
about
Mhm.
now.
Right.
Like we've been in this, and if I'm going to live the next some odd years with you, I'm not going to be unhappy. I'm
Mhm.
not going to feel disrespected by
Right.
somebody.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
But
truly have to learn.
You really
be
have
a
to learn.
compromise.
Yeah. That's one thing about marriage. It's very, it's a partnership. Let's be real here. When you go into it, it's like you bring in your own baggage, they bring in their baggage. And then whatever blossoms out of it, you learn from each other, and you keep working on yourself because you got to have something to build on. And I'm very blessed and fortunate that we had a great friendship before we even got into our relationship. And I think a lot of people now miss that, they don't have that friendship base and then move forward. Because I didn't meet him for a year after we initially started talking to him. I didn't physically meet him until a year later.
If you look at when I think about the question that you're posing in this time, when I'm thinking about business and what is stretching me business wise, right now in this season is recognizing that what time I have for everything is really like you. I know I'm jumping the gun, but posing that question about boundaries is like, but it's really a question like, what are my boundaries?
Right.
In business, I feel like I'm stretching myself here and there. I'm learning how not to be such a pleaser,
Right,
but it's still difficult because I want to do everything and be everywhere, but I also understand I'm only one person and like
Use every woman.
and so like every woman is being stretched,
But
and appeasing family and appeasing, clients and community. How do you do that?
yeah, you have to set boundaries. In that instance, going back to the question at hand, yes, you do have to set boundaries. And yes, as a recovering perfectionist, it's hard because when it's been drilled in you, you got to get it done. You got to get it done right. Don't put out crappy products. You know what I mean? And it's interesting because Michael and I were talking, that's my son, Michael. Anyway, he was telling me, he goes, I remember everything you said about don't turn in crappy homework, do your best every time. He goes, sometimes I just didn't want to do it because I didn't want to be disappointed. And I said, I understand that. I said, trust me, but the work still has to get done regardless.
So tell me this.
Yeah.
How did you become a ex perfectionist? Because I'm still working on that. And as a graphic designer, like literally I spent 2 weeks doing a custom piece for somebody that it was just a conversation that they wanted this piece and I wanted to get it to them by Christmas. They weren't expecting it.
Yeah.
A week before Christmas, I'm looking at this and I was like, I don't like it. I want to score. And I already spent the money doing the piece, but I like it wasn't it wasn't at the caliber that I would give this to her. She didn't ask to pay for it or anything. She's like, oh, I would just look. As a graphic, so I'm doing her domino. She's a 49er fan, which touched my heart because my bestie is a 49er fan. I was like, she said she would love to do a domino piece with 49er fan.
Right.
I made a mistake in some place, and with doing resin work, you don't know what you get until the end. When I started to pull everything out the mold, I was like, I hate it, and I cannot give this to her.
Right.
Even though I've already used my materials, everything. How did you overcome that?
But there's a difference, I'm sorry to interject, between perfection and this shit ain't right.
It ain't right. It ain't, the colors weren't right. They were red turned orange.
Okay, to answer your question, when I would get so stressed out, my nose would bleed, I would get anxiety.
Oh, see, that's a whole nother reaction.
Exactly.
That's a whole nother thing.
But that's how I had to stop being a perfectionist. Because when I would miss a deadline, I would freak out. When I worked for the paper, there have been days I would sit at my desk and I literally leaned my head forward and blood would come out of my nose. Because I was that stressed out because something didn't make the deadline or something, the graphic was off. And it wasn't me. Just the circumstance. Now, what I do now, website design, marketing consultant, I have to look at things from two different points of view. My client's point of view and my point of view. And sometimes our points of view don't even match.
That happens a lot.
It don't even match. And sometimes I overthink things. That's what I'm trying to get you to stop doing. Don't overthink things because the work is going to get done regardless. Number two, you are outstanding at what you do. And I'm giving you your flowers and your kudos because you can take an idea and pull it and it's beautiful. Not everybody can do that. Not everybody can look at something and say, this should be tweaked this way. This can turn this way. Not everybody can do that. So kudos to you. My thing where I have to get out of my way, and I had to get out of my way, is that my vision, my client's visions are two different things. When I put somebody's website together, I have to realize this is their business.
Mhm.
This is what they want. It's not what I want because I can easily do it and it could be something for me, but it's not mine. And that's where you have to realize this isn't for me. This isn't mine. This is theirs. This is a representation of me, but it's not me.
Okay, but in
And
this
it's-
instance,
Yeah.
it wasn't even, it wasn't what either one of us wanted. Like the color was so off. I pulled it out the motor. I was like, why is that orange when I used red? And I knew why it was orange because I put the red at the bottom, and then of course it's a little transparent, and I wanted that little bit of gold to show through,
Right.
and it turned it
filtered
orange. And
Yeah.
I literally took it out. And I was like, this is
Nope.
not where this is
Well,
scrap.
I think that's different from trying to reach perfection because you have a goal, you have
Right.
an idea in mind, and I mean, red and orange is two
Two different
colors.
things,
Two
two
different
colors. Yeah.
Yeah, but then it's also, I mean, as a poet, spoken word artist, sometimes I get up there and I'll say things or I'll be singing something and I'll come off and I'll be like, oh, that didn't come out right, or I didn't say that right. And I remember your mother-in-law at the time, Miss Linda, who rest her soul, sometimes, she would say like, it wasn't for you. It's for somebody else, so
Maybe see that.
yeah, and it sounds great to me, but so it wasn't for you.
Because
Maybe it
we
was
are
for
our hardest critics.
Yeah. And that's one of those things where,
and somebody will like orange. It might not have been the color for that tea,
Right.
but
and one of those things I had to learn is give myself grace.
Mm.
And, with everything that's happened in the last few years, you guys know, I've hit rock bottom. And in the process of hitting rock bottom, I always had to look up. And one day I just said, Lord, help me. I can't do this on my own. And when doing that, I was like letting things go because I can't control everything. I can't even control what's going on in my backyard. But the whole point is that I had to learn to give myself grace. And I hope that you will find a way to do that because all of us are great at what we do. All of us have something that somebody else can't even do. They can't even think about what we can do.
Mhm.
So all I ask is that you guys become more intentional and give yourself grace. Because I had to work on myself. I'm not just saying this, I'm saying it to myself too. And when I even talk on the show, I always say, I'm not giving advice just because I'm living it. So whenever I put something out, we're right together.
Mhm.
You
A
know?
lot of times when I say something, even like in our morning workouts, when I'm really like breathe, I'm really not talking to you. I'm telling
to yourself.
I'm breathing.
I'm telling myself while we're spinning, breathe. Because yes. So yeah, it is about not only putting that out there, but also encouraging yourself and being a champion for yourself. But it doesn't hurt to have a support group or as what do I call it? It will be right here. It's on the tip of my tongue. Just somebody there, accountability,
Yeah.
accountability. And like with our morning workouts, even with your morning workouts, if it was just up to me,
Mm-hmm. No.
snooze.
Snooze,
Oh, it's
snooze,
time to
snooze.
start getting to work.
Yeah.
But having people that will get up with you and be like, you got to show up for them because they show up for you, and you know this is the most positive thing to happen in your life in this moment.
Mhm.
This piece of the morning has been carved out to get something done, and just having that people that will show up for you,
Yeah.
and you're showing up for them too, is just one way of moving forward in your goals, in your daily goals.
Okay. So let's move on to one question. Just kidding, Makeda. I'm going by script. I'm going by the script. Okay.
Scripted.
Talking about
Well,
Okay, I know.
snowball.
I know. All right. I'm posing this to one person in particular because I really think that this is something that I think she has a lot to say. So, Janaea, was there a moment in your life when you realized your voice mattered and what finally gave you the courage to use it?
Was there a moment in my life when I realized my voice mattered?
Mhm.
Girl, this girl's voice mattered all the time. Don't you hear her? It's all about her
I'm
voice.
like, okay, we were talking about Janae, all right?
Right.
Well, we get it.
You're so funny. No, seriously, my voice mattered to me. I don't know about them, but to me in 2013. So back in the day, Janaea was a passive person. Janaea was a person that let people walk over her. Janaea was a person that let people talk sideways to her, get away with a lot of stuff. And in 2013, Janaea went through so much stuff that she decided she was done being that person. And as I like to tell people, if you remember the girl before 2013, that bitch is dead.
Mhm.
And the girl that they are referring to now.
You have always had a strong voice here, and you like her voice here. So amongst others, you have been meek, but amongst this sister group, you have been true to yourself. I am gonna say you didn't use that meekness with the girlfriend group, and to even find out all the background of everything that was happening. I didn't know that person. I didn't know that person. That person was for that situation and that whatever. Like I've never seen you back down on anything.
I think that's another conversation, another example of a relationship situation where you feel, I mean, I think our relations with our good girlfriends compared to boundaries that we allow our, relationships or significant others cross over,
I don't
we
think
seem
so, because
different.
I'm not sure how I can't really remember not saying that we weren't friends then, but I don't know how close we were because the quote unquote friends that I thought I had at that time were the people that were using me. So when I say people talk to me crazy and use me, that wouldn't be you guys.
I absolutely know who you're
But
talking
that
about.
was
Not, but
Right.
look who's standing here. Look who has
Correct.
look who has been in the
And
test
like
of
I
time.
tell people, I'm not a good friend. These chicks know me. They just put up with me. They just tolerate me.
Forced into a
They have a
relationship.
choice. They have a special love for me. I'm not a good
Right.
friend.
No, Janae is
I
probably
would
the
go back to
best
the first
friend.
question
Yeah.
that she asked. What would you tell your younger
Younger
self?
self?
It's like, oh, you see that nigga there? Let him go.
That one,
Leave
that
it.
bitch, that all of them. They
They
know
know where
for
he
you.
is.
Let that go. So,
And recognize the fuckery.
well, all right. So
bakery.
now we've talked about
The bakery.
the bakery. Dang.
But like I said earlier, there are no mistakes
Oh, you
because
know.
that was the best learning experience
Yeah.
I could have ever had.
Yep.
That was the best teaching experience I could have ever had.
I always said every failed relationship I had, it was a stepping stone.
Yeah.
Correct.
Because I knew what went on in that relationship, I wasn't going to tolerate in the
In
next
the
one.
next relationship.
And that's just in
Yeah.
life, period. What is it? My mom called me the queen of second and third chances. So I'm like, okay, I'm done. Whatever happens next, it's a wrap. I already know what I want and what I don't want.
Mhm.
But I think a lot of the things that we do, it all goes back to what we learned growing up and what belief systems we had. But in all that, as far as work is concerned, as far as careers and everything is always tied in because you bring that piece of you whenever you go into the office, or in my case, when I, go sit at my desk, or when you go to your office, same thing. All of us carry something outside of work into work. The point is, you don't want work to be brought back home.
Leave
Right.
that work baggage at the door. You can pick it up as you walk back in.
It's a lot easier said than done. I mean, I was at some places and what you don't deal with will, we are talking about insomnia. It's like when you do go to sleep, this is going to manifest in your dreams. I was working as several jobs in K through 12. In this particular job in a middle school, I was having nightmares. Like that was like, God is done thank you. Like I had to get out of there because I was having nightmares. And even now, and what I'm doing, when I was acting, I would have dreams about forgetting lines. And now that I'm back in school, I'm having anxiety again showing up in my dreams about forgetting assignments. It's like, man,
So would you prefer being working or a student at this age?
well, I'm a working student,
You're
so
working. Okay.
I should get the best of both worlds.
Yeah.
I'm getting paid to study, which is it's still a burden, and then recognizing being in a doctoral program, like what are you going to school for? Recognizing the intellectual burden that comes with it is education is lifelong learning, and I think when you opt to go to that optimal level, which I do have an MFA, which is a terminal degree as an artist, a Master of Fine Arts, but then to go to that terminal degree in a kind of a more science field, it is the science of education. After the 5 years, you still got postdoc work. It's like you gotta work towards your tenure. So I'm like, at this beginning, understanding that it doesn't end. Like education continues. Like you have to continue to work on yourself and to really, at this point, embody the mantra of lifelong learning, because that is really what I've signed up for. What I'm getting paid to do is to continue to learn. And so like what it is also finding that balance of my which is funny to say balance, because I think they both inform each other, and I'm looking forward to integrating my artistic and cultural self with my intellectual journey as a doctoral student. So, but not having that anxiety or powering through, because you really can't stop your reaction from anxiety. You can only uh recognize it and kind of deal with it in a more positive manner. So having these dreams is reminding me, bitch, you better make sure that your LinkedIn
Bitch, you doing a
calendar.
good job. Bitch, you doing a good job. Bitch, you doing a good job.
And I never forgot a line. So having them anxiety dreams, bitch, you better learn your line, bitch. So yeah, it's crazy, things that you have to juggle and meld together, whatever season you're in.
Yeah. I think for me, it's one of those things where I look at what I do. I don't have to answer anybody, but that's the anxiety of it. If you don't know how to give yourself boundaries, I have to give myself boundaries. Like get up, go work out, feed the dogs, go get started on your work. And if anybody can't do that, you can't do it. You have to set boundaries for yourself. Because if not, I will be rolling off the rails. I'm not gonna lie.
Not even boundaries, but you have to set daily goals. You have to be like, I'm gonna go to bed on time so I can get up and do this for myself, because it is self-healing, it's self-care. And if you have not taken care of yourself, you don't have the power, the energy, the love, the respect to take care of everybody else that is on your shoulders.
Exactly. And that's one of the things I had to stop and ask myself, what is this all for? But I have to remind myself, I don't think I can work for anybody else again.
I think that kind of comes together with another important thing that I'm also working on in business and relationships and whatever, is knowing your worth.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
As artists, that is the hardest. As artists, as entrepreneurs, that's the hardest thing. How do you charge your worth?
I mean,
yeah, you have to. I trust me. I've gone through this many a time. That's why I've been very blessed and fortunate. I got a business coach. If it wasn't for her, I couldn't possibly learn to pivot again, because I've pivoted multiple times, at least 3 times in the last 6 years. And now I'm learning it's okay to make mistakes, just keep pushing forward. And, I'm able to look at my projects. I'm looking at the numbers. Sometimes they don't match, and that's okay though.
The time it takes you.
Exactly.
like, is it 3 times the material?
Right.
Like, what do you
But see, but the thing is
the tax.
right, because like for me though, I don't like paying exchanging dollar for time. I want you to take the package. Whatever I present to you, that's what I want you to have. I don't want to have to keep worrying about dollars and cents. Just take the package and run along with it, you know? But sometimes you do have to sit think, am I undercharging? Am I not doing the right thing? And that's really hard as an entrepreneur. And you really have to stop and think, okay, what was that? There was an old adage I heard. It says, take what you thought, times it by 10, and that's what your number is.
I wish I could work on
Apple, apple.
4 apples.
And all money ain't good money. You know,
Oh, yeah, that's
That's so true.
good money. And my mom used to say, you can't make all the money. Like, you know, you really have to. Like, that's where I'm at. Like, trying to see what it is. I had a gig call me, for what Wojo Ensemble of the Inland Empire to come out to do something in Paris, and I'm like, okay, this is my price. And they was like, this is what we have. And I'm like, okay, well, I could do this, but I can't do that.
You can
Because-
get this, or you can get with that. You can get with this, or you can get with that.
You know, and you know, there's no response. But I'm not gonna go back and you know, oh my God,
Yeah.
I lost the client. Guess what? I'm at this point, like I don't have to dance no more. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm like, you know, get us to somebody else. Like, this is our worth.
Yeah.
And you're asking me to travel all the way out here. Who else are you going to get out there? If you can find someone to do it for that price, find them.
Yeah.
That's not me.
Yeah.
Because I know my worth. I've been in it. You know, people want me to volunteer about, oh, it's Black History Month. Can you come in? This is the only time y'all call me. When I'm supposed to make my money?
Right.
December and February.
Oh, Columbus Day.
Christopher come bust us. You know, if I'm always volunteering, you know, you know what I mean? If I'm only making myself available and those are the months that I'm hot, like y'all not concerned about, like, you know, cooperative economics, like
Wow.
10 more
livelihood.
months in the
Right, yeah.
How am I supposed to survive?
Right.
Then you also
And matter
got
of
taking
If
drummers.
this is Black
all
History
that.
Month, y'all should be paying me more for what I give as a cultural custodian, as a culture bearer, to be available and to have this expertise during this month, during Kwanzaa, you know, like y'all should be ready to pay my price and then put some more, but like tip it over.
Tip it over. Yeah.
Like me a cow. Whoa. Up in the air, like, yeah. You know what I mean? So like,
Know your
worth. And stick with it.
Oh yeah. And
Yeah, and no is a full sentence.
you know, but it takes time. It takes time to get to that. And especially, I don't know.
At 50, we should be there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's like the crazy part about it is because of the industry I'm in, you know, that's the other reason why I'm pivoting is because, you know, there's people coming 20, 30 years younger than me. But because who I'm trying to reach, I'm like, I'm over here. I'm not trying to get your bag. I'm trying to get over here. And I think that's where people get it twisted. It's like, no, I want everything. You can't have everything. You can't be everything to everybody. Stay in your lane, and that's your niche, and be happy where you are. And I think that's, you know, but people, especially with all the layoffs and all this other stuff, there's people out there have a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of skills, and wealth of talent, and that's who I'm trying to reach because I want them to know that they have worth, they have value. You just have to find the right people to bring it out. And I think that's kind of hard because, you know, when you know, let's just face it, you know, with everything that's going on today, it's like you get a pink slip or whatever, or your department is just totally let go. Then what? Like, you have these skills, you have these talents, you might as well put them to good use.
Diversify and multiple streams of income.
You know, but that's just many of the things that I like talking to people about getting them to see themselves as their own boss, you know, but that's just what I do. That's what I like to talk about. Well, ladies, I appreciate you so much. You just don't know. And this has been something we've been talking about for months. So I'm glad it finally came to fruition. So as we conclude for the evening, I want you guys to, well, one, thank you for sticking with us. I've reached 150 episodes. I didn't realize until I got the email saying, hey, congrats. So yeah, so when this comes out, it'll be 151. So thank you for your support. Thank you for being there. And as always, thank you for just sticking there for me, staying and supporting me. So until next week, I want you to be inspired. I want you to be inspiring. I want you to be encouraged. I want you to be encouraging. But most of all, I want you to be you. And I will check you out next week. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.